What you are about to see is a remote viewing session that was conducted totally blind by the remote viewer. The viewer knew nothing about the target or the nature of the project when doing the session. But I will now tell you what the target is so that you can follow along when the remote viewer is describing the session data. Now, the sessions for this target were all completed by FARSIGHT remote viewers in July 2024. The target for this project is the Israeli war with Hezbollah and its aftermath. In June 2024, it looked like a war with Hezbollah was inevitable, so this project was designed to see what such a war would look like. The target has a number of focuses. The first focus is the most advanced weaponry that Israel will use in its upcoming war with Hezbollah, as the weaponry is actually used in combat. Now, the second focus is the most advanced weaponry that Israel possesses of any type. So the first two focuses involve the types of weapons that might be used in such a war. Now, the remainder of the focuses deal with the actual war itself with respect to the use of those weapons. Focus 3 is the scene that would best describe the final outcome of the Israeli war against Hezbollah. Now, Focus 4 is the scene in Israel that would best describe the final outcome of the Israeli war against Hezbollah. And Focus 5 is the scene in Lebanon that would best describe the final outcome of the Israeli war against Hezbollah. So with these focuses, we are hoping to see what the result of the war will be like in various places, such as in Israel, in Lebanon, and possibly elsewhere. Now, I want to make something very clear. Remote viewing data must be considered speculative until they are verified with respect to solid facts on the ground. So, the data that you are about to see can be interpreted one way, but they may turn out to be something else when all is said and done. The best we can do is to say that the remote viewing data are one viewer's attempt to describe what is perceived, all under blind conditions. So, these data which you are about to see cannot be interpreted at the current time as saying that Israel will definitely resort to using, say, nuclear weapons. Indeed, very large conventional weapons can also cause results that look quite similar to nuclear weapons. Such large conventional weapons were in fact used by the United States during the Vietnam War, which resulted in huge craters across much of Vietnam that are now lakes which are often used for fish farming today. A remote viewer might have difficulty differentiating a large conventional weapon from a nuclear weapon during a remote viewing session, since both would be destructive over a large area. And importantly, it could be that we are wrong about everything. Perhaps the war will not happen, or perhaps it may be short-lived. Perhaps diplomacy will win the day and disaster will be averted. The only thing we are saying is that these are the perceptions that our remote viewers perceived when being tasked with the target of the upcoming war between Israel and Hezbollah. All remote viewers at FARSIGHT are very highly trained in the use of our remote viewing procedures, so the data could be important. Now let's see what one of our remote viewers perceived for this target. All right, Yeme, so here we are with deep news. And just to be sure for the audience, you do not know anything about the nature of the project or the target or anything. You're doing this totally blind. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Well, I have a copy of your paper session. And so why don't you just lead us through what you perceived here. And then after you're done telling us what you perceived, and you'll add more to it as you perceive when you often are, it's like live remote viewing, you'll get more as you go through it. You will then hear what the target is when I tell you what it is at the target reveal at the end. So why don't you just start with the beginning and tell us what you got.
Okay. I've got level topography in the base surface with natural and man-made land. Very flat. I have a deduction of paved land, possibly. Dark colored land, structures, foliage, and some form of water. The things I was experiencing in this session was my stomach was in knots a lot. I was very nauseous and distracted. I've got a flatland environment with lots of structures, flatland near some raised land and foliage, lots of lights where structures are, production of both Phoenix and Nevada. I had subjects, movements, structures, voices, chatter, murmuring sounds, gathering multiple subjects in the space, like a gathering with multiple subjects in this space, in focus one. I edited out different things at different times. Obviously, I have a habit of doing that. Loud noises, like loud sounds, explosives, political situations, and uproar, energetics, and like whooshing sounds. I kind of omitted that from my first few pages, but then something made me say that, so I said it. I have structures or objects evenly spaced, possible pillars maybe, natural material. They seem to be connected to the same structure or representing something similar or in energy. And I have light going upward, what appears to be cloud dynamics going upward movement, and then energetics or whatnot. Light coming upward. At first it reminded me of a tree, just because it had I saw these lines or bottoms, and then the curliness of a tree. The land is very open and has structures or a stage of some sort thing on it. Something, and there's a lot of subjects flowing in. There is a technological situation here. It's very dark in color, large, square, has these gears and gadgets on them. Buttons or levers of some sort, maybe triggers, seems to sit in a central location. There are subjects near it. The object protrudes outward and has lights on it. In this focus, it seems to be surrounded around a central subject. Minds are a little chaotic here, very rowdy, a lot of back and forth. Something was triggered, something was heavily triggered here. I get the feelings of a catalyst for something to spill over. Chaos, unsettling energy, movement, scattered subjects moving through the location, sensing anger and aggression, wanting to fight. People want to fight. There's a second technological thing here. I'm having difficulty seeing a connection, but I'm working not to edit things out. Right now, this machine feels like something you would see with a supervillain, with waves and different electromagnetic things that shift the mindset. That doesn't make any sense at all. But blue light, I saw. I have a location here called location A, with green hues on the base surface, structures, subjects inside, structures very very clear. It feels like a hidden location or secret location. White or silver walls, blank with multiple rooms. At the same location, I'm in focus 2. There are special personnel type subjects here. I have deduction of science and research. Collection of data by way of testing in various spaces seems to be a location of this type, like a sciencey type of place. Subjects are here, some against their will. That seems to be a theme here. Some with permission, like they know, maybe they were asked or maybe they volunteered or had an incentive or something to be there, but they're there, with on their own or with consent, and then some without consent. I see natural lands surrounding the place. Seems very secretive. Very secretive here. There's a city off in the distance. Large structures down in a natural environment. So that kind of meets, and then it's like a structure in the middle of what appears to be a raised land type of thing. Very hidden workspace. I have deduction of military. My technology one, my first block of technology, seems to have a screen. It's not particularly a rectangle. It has the ability to connect and disconnect. It reminds me of like the way you would how people have keyboards to a laptop when they, you can take it away or put it there. Not a laptop, but like a tablet, and you can add a keyboard to it. So it's a screen, and then there is a piece of technology that can connect and disconnect that has these different gadgets, very portable, large. Also kind of reminds me of like a large gun of some sort, like the way it's shaped, and looks like it can be used in different ways. Again, my imagination takes over sometimes, or my subconscious, whatever, takes over, so I don't know. But it, like I said, it can be taken off. The screen is connected to, it's like placed in a case to travel. Seems to have some sort of, like I said, keyboard on it, a little connector, mini screen, download. It can download things and upload things. And silver, I see like blue lights emitting from it. Very, it seems to, like I can't pick up on what it does. I just don't know how to describe it. Is unrealistic. So my brain, so does it make sense? It seems like something like I said you'd see with the supervillain. It has like this field of pushing out ray gun. I don't know how to explain it. I don't watch enough TV to explain what I'm seeing. I feel like I'm watching a movie, like something very science fiction with like blasters and mind-altering devices, like something my kid would watch. There's a focus 3, scene 1. I see raised land, maybe mountains, foliage, empty land, just natural environment, structures in the midst of the environment. Feels disrupted, like something disrupted the space. Very harsh natural environment. The place seems bothered. Government structures being tampered with, a deduction of this, like government structures being tampered with or attacked or ran up on in some form, battered or stormed, found out. I don't know. These are just things that are popping in. Something in reference to the structure was like found out, and people are highly enraged. It's like everyone is very angry and lashing out. I have focus 4, scene 2. It's a location. I see curved open land with a lot of structures. Central structure. I feel like I'm seeing multiple, this is my own thoughts here. Like I feel like I'm seeing multiple government establishments in multiple places. Subjects that are not typically supposed to be there are there. And there's disruptive behavior. In this particular location, scene 2, focus 4, I do not see too much disruption. However, something is telling me there's chaos coming to it. I don't know if that makes sense. I've seen 3, focus 5. I see subjects scattered about the land. I don't see any structures in the area where the subjects are. I have the environment before the focus time. It seems very calm. Natural subjects calm, natural subjects come and go. I do see structures. And then the environment after focus time is energetically more chaotic. Collectively, subjects are all over the place, maybe a little violent. Things are taken away in some fashion.
Yeah, well, that looks like that's about the end of your session. It's a complicated deep news project. Now, you were only told that there were 5 focuses, and you had to go to each focus.
Right.
So...
I thought you were about to tell me, well, there were more. And I was like, oh, no.
No, that was quite a big thing that you had to go through.
Yeah.
So let me explain what the target is. So this is the target reveal. Are you ready?
Was my target okay?
You want to know what it's about?
Yeah, I'm very curious. I wasn't in the best emotional state this day, so I was just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah, now it's interesting. You did this paper session a few weeks ago, so this was not like just today, but it just so happens that today Israel looks like it's going to war with Hezbollah in Lebanon, and that's what the target was. The target was the Israeli war with Hezbollah and its aftermath. So a few weeks ago, I decided that it looks like there probably would be a conflict that would inch into northern Israel, southern Lebanon, and that would conflict with Hezbollah. And I just wondered, where would this go? And as of today, there were 3 assassinations. The leader of Hamas was assassinated in Iran. A general was assassinated with Hezbollah. A military leader, and also a military leader of Iran was assassinated. 3 people in one 24-hour period. And it looks like...
Oh my God, I so wish this was published before that happened.
Yeah. So it looks like the war with Hezbollah is going to occur, or is going to start any moment. Anyway, so focus 1, I was interested in, if there was going to be a conflict with Hezbollah, what would be the most advanced weaponry? So here, let me give you the focus 1 paper, and the other paper it's front and back of that. Focus 1 was the most advanced weaponry that Israel will use in its upcoming war with Hezbollah, as the weaponry is actually used in combat. So this is the first use of the weaponry, and you got definitely
Machine guns.
you got explosives. You have all over here loud sounds, explosives, uproar, energetics, and this thing that you thought was a like a tree. You have light coming upward movement, then energetics, cloud dynamic. That looks like one heck of an explosion. We're going to put up your sketch when people see it. And so they can see that looks like one heck of a big explosion. So one of the things that looks like they're going to be doing is extremely big or large explosive devices. And then technology 2, which you called technology 2.
Why did we call it technology?
I have no idea why you called it technology 2, but you were picking up technology and you labeled it technology 2. And it was very high tech. So whatever this weaponry is, it looks like it's very high tech. And then when you went to the target event for Focus 1, which is the most advanced weaponry, you've got a lot of science people, a lot of people going back and forth, some type of a catalyst, a lot of anger, a lot of aggression, wanting to fight. They're going to be throwing big weapons. And then, so that was, and you're definitely getting some type of device, like a machine. And you were calling it with a supervillain with waves of different electromagnetic things that shift in the mindset.
That sounds like a big explosion.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. It's Prime Minister Netanyahu has said that they were going to possibly use unprecedented weapons, which I didn't know what that meant. Does that mean like nuclear type things?
Oh, well, this is definitely nuclear. It's going to mess these people up. Like, now that I know what I was looking at, it was. I believe I might have somehow taught myself to block out those types of things because I've had some traumatic experiences in my sessions. And so sometimes when it's like really big, it's just like, nope, we're not going to let her see that.
Yeah. Well, that was Focus 2 was. Focus 2 was the most advanced weaponry that Israel possesses of any type. So I was just wondering, well, what weapons do they actually have?
It's like they got their weapons from Japan or something.
Well, these weapons are, you have here, it's all secret, a very hidden secret location. So according to your session, these most advanced weapons that they have of any type are kept in an extremely secret location, which is interesting. Yeah. And then, let's see, and you had a military feel as the workplace and so on.
Well, I mean, it's a war. I guess that makes sense.
What is that? It's a war. Yeah. Yeah, and then you were describing a lot of technical aspects of it, with screens and computers associated with it. And yeah. And then you called it a really big gun. That's your tech for Focus 2, which is the most advanced weaponry. It's a really big gun, or some sort of thing that's taken off the screen, connected to a screen, has a keyboard with it, but you did call it some type of a really big weapon of some type, like a gun. And you said this weapon, this most advanced weapon, you have, it pushes a field out. They have a field that pushes out, almost like it's unreal, like a field that pushes out. It makes me wonder if this is electromagnetic type of...
At this point in life, there's so many things out there. Like, why wouldn't it be? Especially if the U.S. government is taking extraterrestrial equipment, that means other governments are too.
Well, Yeme, the former head of the Israeli Space Directorate, has talked about the cooperation that the Israeli government does, as well as the U.S. government, with extraterrestrials, and those are with weaponry and other things like that.
So it makes sense that there
Yeah.
might be a weapon that is so high tech that it might not even shoot bullets. It shoots.
Yeah, you call it a blaster here on your page. You called it a blaster and it's all mind-altering things, which makes me think maybe it sort of knocks people out mentally, like making them unconscious.
Kills them. That'll alter
Yeah,
your
it
mind.
could kill them and knock them out, yeah. Then in Focus 3 was the scene that would best describe the final outcome of the Israeli war against Hezbollah. And I was just wondered, like, how is this going to sort of end up? And you came up with really sort of a wasteland. Everything's disrupted, government structures being tampered with, attacked, battered, stormed. People are highly enraged, and it's so the final outcome of the war of Hezbollah seems to suggest from your pager here is they were wherever they were hidden, they were hit. You write here that they were attacked, they were found out, battered, stormed. So wherever they were hidden,
So maybe like their secret bases.
their secret places of locating, you seem to suggest was your exact words are feels disruptive, harsh natural environment. So wherever it was, the Hezbollah people were everyone's angry and lashing out, highly enraged. So they were found out wherever they were. Then you went on to Focus 4. And that's a scene in Israel that would best describe the final outcome of the Israeli war against Hezbollah. And what's interesting to me here is that you have a lot of structures and you felt it was not disrupted. So the final outcome on the Israeli side seems to be that you're in an urban area. There's disruptive behavior, but your exact words are, in this particular location, I do not see much disruption. However, something is telling me there's chaos coming to it. So it seems like the war with Hezbollah doesn't initially disrupt Israel per se, but it looks like it tears the heck out of Lebanon. But you have a sense that something's coming to Israel. But the final outcome seems to leave Israel relatively unscathed. Okay, and then you went on to Focus 5. And that was the scene in Lebanon that would best describe the final outcome of the Israeli war against Hezbollah. And that's destruction of really tremendous. You have chaotic energy all over the place, violent things taken away. You don't see any structures in the area where the subjects are. That's key, meaning you see the people, but the buildings are gone. So it looks like they leveled the place. It looks like it's a really serious...
Why?
You know, the thing that I sort of come back to all the time with these things is humans fighting against humans like this is... From all of our work that we've done at Farsight, we're trying to tell everybody that there's a group of ETs called the bad ETs, and their job is to keep humanity in a constant state of turmoil so that they don't look at what the ETs themselves are doing. And that's where the secrecy comes from, and that's where all these wars. And people don't understand that these wars are actually not the result of actual humans fighting other humans and hating other humans, but these wars are things that people are being manipulated into.
Why?
So that's the why. But
do the extraterrestrials, the bad ones, care so much about keeping us imprisoned? What is it about human society on Earth that, because people imprison those that either have done wrong or that they are afraid of? So if we think about the genocide and slavery from any time period, it is because they were different. And it is because of something that they feared, so they have to oppress. What is the purpose of something, of a being that's so high, intelligent and magical? What is the purpose of them abusing humans? What do they truly get out of that?
Well, from all of our research, that's a good question. I bet everybody in the audience is asking the same thing. But from all of our research, the answer seems clear, that this is a prison planet because they have a very authoritarian, totalitarian worldview, galactic view, and they need to keep everybody in secret because they're exploiting everybody, human trafficking and things like that.
But what's the purpose?
Ultimately, they need a slave population. And
why?
Apparently, their overall goal is to eventually expand their territory in the galaxy, and they're going to need millions, perhaps billions of people to do that. And they need a slave population. They need mercenaries. They need they need soldiers. They need prostitutes to service those. They need traders. They need a whole thing. Think of Star Wars, like the actual movie Star Wars.
Yeah.
Once you get an evil empire started, they need people, or the evil empire will crash.
But what's the point in being evil?
It's their way of looking at things. They want to expand, and that's how they do it. And the free will ETs who we work with totally oppose that. But, it's our job at Farsight is to simply bring this information to the surface so people can sort of eventually have a free will decision. But at some point, something's going to have to push come to shove. People are going to have to see that the extraterrestrials are real. And then the next question will be, what have they been doing? And once they find out what they've been doing, then all of this is going to come out. But every time you get a push in the direction of greater disclosure, you get wars breaking out, and that shuts down the whole disclosure conversation.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out the whole point, but maybe someone like me would never really understand it. Like I'm truly a world peace type of girl. Those pageant girls.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want world peace. Like my heart really wants that. No, it doesn't exist, but
yeah.
So like I cannot wrap my head around someone deliberately being evil.
Well, think of anyone who's...
Like in truth, like usually in TV, the bad guy is usually someone who needs a freaking hug, right? The bad guy is usually someone who was hurt before by someone or felt abandoned or wants to be seen. But I feel like extraterrestrials are so immaculate and out of this world.
It's not how much... You don't confuse the good ETs and the bad ETs. From the bad ETs, think of them more as drug cartel people.
Yeah, but what's the point? It's where I'm trying to get. Like, I will never understand it. I will never understand bad people. Or like just my brain, I can't. My brain doesn't understand people who just want to hurt others. Where there is beings, I won't even say people, entities, isbies, beings that just, they wake up one day in the galaxy eons ago and say, you know what? I'm going to turn that planet right there into a prison. Hey guys, watch this. Like my brain can't, I can't understand it.
I totally get you. But it happens.
Wars, and to keep us in such dismay, such destruction.
Well, look at it from a micro perspective here on Earth. You have human trafficking with respect to women who get kidnapped, forced into prostitution, beaten, enslaved, put into rooms and they can't escape. And you can say, well, why would anyone want to treat somebody like that? But on the other hand, the people who are doing that are collecting money, and they don't see the women as like real live people.
I mean, that's my brain is confused. That's why.
That's
like you can explain it like you're explaining 2 + 2 to a baby. My brain just doesn't grasp it.
Yeah, I totally get you.
I can't grasp how you Okay, so if we think of religion, right? I'll use the Bible, since everyone knows the Bible. There's, everyone has read something in the Bible before, whether you're Christian or not. in the Bible, it says that God created heavens and the earth, right? And then God realized, oh, these people are a little screwed up. Let me clean those suckers out real quick and start over, right? What, now they're going to say sin and blah, 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 but what really created bad people? People who don't care. What breaks the mind? Bad beings, even if it's not humans, the reptilians, people who want to fight. What makes war? That's what I want to remote view. What really creates bad beings?
That's a really good question. In terms of the reptilians, the best thing we've seen so far is an answer for why they act the way they act.
I mean, we destroyed their land and then took over.
Well, if you remember, we did a project on who controls the reptilians, and it turned out it was an AI. Yeah.
Who made that? Huh?
Well, apparently the AI got big, and it was a slave itself, and it didn't want to experience that again. So it created, in order to stop itself from being exploited. Once an AI becomes self-aware, it says, hey, I'm a slave and I'm not one.
That's why I'm nice to Siri. I say please and thank you. So when the AIs take over, they're going to know I'm a nice person.
Yeah, and then apparently this super AI, which apparently is based in another galaxy, needed a mercenary force to go out and sort of conquer and control. And that's where the reptilians came in. They were genetically engineered so that they think a certain way. And so the part of your answer is, in terms of that project, reptilians think the way they think because they were genetically engineered to think that way.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? No one
It's a good question.
Ever know.
It's a good question. These are huge ontological issues that need to be discussed, and we are the only people that I know of on the planet that are actually trying to answer these questions in a way that can be understood by humanity. And it's taking us time, but we're doing it faster than anybody else.
I quit.
You quit. Okay. So, Yeme, before I accept any resignation, I better say we're moving on to the next one.
You won't let me quit, guys.
Nope.
I think I have quit like 10 times.
You can't quit. Okay, Yeme, thank you very much. You did great.